Alright then guys, so here we are for round number 3 of Jenson Button's Career Mode here in China. And so, yeah, the first 2 runs have been okay. We're 3rd in the driver's standings, as you can see, only 17 points behind Nico Rosberg. So obviously got a long way to go in this championship, in this McLaren Honda, so I hope you enjoy round 3.
Welcome to qualifying here at the Shanghai International Circuit in China. This 5.45 kilometre track is going to provide us with some thrilling twists and turns within the next hour. One of the big changes on this year's grid is Fernando Alonso, who's left Ferrari and is now back with McLaren.
Many people would never have thought Fernando would go back to McLaren after the volatile year he spent there in 2007. But back he is, and he'll be wanting to make the most of their renewed partnership with Honda.
So you join me now as we're just about to finish our outlap and go on to our flying lap here around the Shanghai International Circuit here in China. Ignore that corner cut there. This is not one of my favourite tracks if I'm honest with you, yeah, I just want to try and maximise as much out of the car as possible this weekend because China's not a brilliant track. So I'm going to let you on board now and have a good flying lap.
Just 30 seconds left in the session.
So here we are on the final straight now, opening doors. Where are we going to finish? It's pole! We got pole position in China. What a good drive. Great bit of driving there.
Jenson Button has done it. He's put the car on pole for tomorrow's race. What a great qualifying performance from the British driver.
Well, they've shown the car has great pace today, but they'll need to demonstrate what it can do over the race duration if they are to secure the victory tomorrow.
Wow.
It's now time to sit back and relax and enjoy the show. It's time for the Chinese Grand Prix here in Shanghai. McLaren find themselves back where they belong thanks to Jenson Button as they start on pole for today's race. Jenson will be hoping that his ability to manage his tyres will see him take the victory today.
It's certainly better for a driver to be out in front, as they're able to drive without having to contend with the dirty air and overheating caused by being sat behind another car.
Daniel Kvyat looks to have the upper hand on Daniel Ricciardo this weekend. He really is dialed into this track.
Beware the Russian Crofty. He's on fire so far this weekend and looks to be able to get more out of that Red Bull over this circuit than Ricciardo can. Can he keep that going for the duration of the race though?
And it's lights out and away we go here in China. Starting from pole position, and I think that's Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes has got off to a flyer and he's taking the lead into turn 1, which is a very weird corner there. Not having the best of starts there, but we've managed to get the lead back after having run wide on the exit of turn 1 and through turn 2 now. We have got a little bit of a lead over the Mercedes driver. It's nice to see a Williams up in 3rd place as well with a Ferrari in 4. Who's that in 5th? I'm not quite sure. It might probably be Rosberg. Yes, it is Rosberg. Williams and another car there. Looks like a Force India. Got very close in 7th and 8th position. Coming into the sector 2 now, one of the hardest sectors to get the car turned in correctly. So if you see a few corner cuts, please do not be surprised, because it is a very, very difficult sector, especially in a McLaren Honda where you got no grip and no pace whatsoever. Lewis Hamilton getting close now as we're running up to the long ass right-hander, bringing onto the very, very long straight. You're going to see a few overtaking manoeuvres on this back straight today. As it seems, there is the race is forecast for a bit of rain later on in the race as well. It's coming into the braking zone. Hamilton and Button getting very close, and Button outbroke himself there and ran a lot really wide there, pushing Massa. I think that was in the... Oh, and there's contact in the background. The Williams has smashed right into the Ferrari there. Wow, that was unreal. As we're trying to flick back through the replay cameras there to see what actually happened. Wow, that was unreal there. The Ferrari has been taken out, and I think out was Sebastian Vettel, and his race is effectively over now. That is a big crash. Very surprised if the Williams never got away with it without getting a penalty there. 2 Williams here in 4th and 5th, going okay at the moment. Having a very good qualifying yesterday as well. So, as we're coming on to the 2nd sector on lap 2 now. The midfield is still pretty much bunched up. A lot of action will probably be happening in this group of people on the back straight. So here we are on the back straight now. The mid group is going to be absolutely heaving going down this back straight. A lot of overtakes, I should imagine. That's right on board with Grosjean. That Lotus engine there really having to work down that back straight, trying to close up now. But didn't get the move done on the Toro Rosso. Can he have a look now, coming into the 2nd DRS straight on the run back up to turn 1 and entering lap 3. Look at the train of cars there. On board there with Marcus. No, not Marcus. There's Vettel, so he did continue. He did pit and he did continue on after his crash earlier on in the race. There is us in P3 as it stands, with the 2 Mercedes drivers in front of us, with the 2 Williams very much looking behind, very promisingly. But at this moment in time, the tyre wear was really bad at this moment in time, and knowing the rain was coming as well, and it was getting quite wet as it was. You can see it was only a little bit of a dry line left. Everything else was really getting quite wet. It wasn't too long before I decided to pit. And yeah, we pit really early, as it turned out. The intermediate tyres really didn't need to go on until, say, about lap 9. But as it turned out, as you'll see in a bit, we do pit early, and we make quite a good few places up later on in the race. Can't even speak now. Coming into the braking zone after the long straight, the 2 Williams are really getting close now to Button. But we cut later on into the race now, and not much really happened. It was only really starting to get wet now. And we managed to get the place up to lap Lewis Hamilton after the pit stops were made. And this is now a battle for the lead. We take the lead now, but we're going to come into the pits for our second stop of the race after the first set of intermediate tyres were completely worn. So Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg now lead the race. We have come into the pits for our second stop of the race and another set of intermediate tyres. Hopefully this can bring us back out in P3. And knowing the two leaders are both on the dry compound, we can really push in these wet conditions now. And with fresh rubber we can really go for it, push as hard as possible in order to get the win for today. We've just come out in front of Massa, which is very helpful. We know in Massa, I think is still... No, he's now in the intermediate tyres, but he is on worn rubber. It's getting very racy now as we're coming to the end of Sector 1 and into Sector 2. Massa going right round the outside of us there, into the corner, but we just get the job done and hold off P3 for him. And hopefully we can extend the gap now and catch up with the leaders in front of us. Nice little replay camera there of a low shot. I forgot to say in the race actually, there was only one thing that I forgot to record actually. Roughly around lap 6 or 7, Daniel Ricciardo had contact and had spun out, but he got a puncture. And just on the entry to the long right-hander there, and he just wouldn't move. And we clout into the back of him, along with several other cars who also sustained damage. So we were able to gain quite a few positions on the recovery after making that early pit stop, so we got back into the points fairly quickly. And now as we cut now back onto the live action with us on the final lap of the Grand Prix, not much else happened if I'm honest with you. We couldn't really close up to the two leaders with Hamilton and Rosberg unable to be reeled in by us on our intermediate tyres, but still third place, I'm pretty happy with that in all fairness, knowing we have to make that early pit stop and we went for the wrong tyres really, knowing it was intermediates rather than we could have stayed on the option tyres until we made that second pit stop really. But on the exit of that corner we got quite close to the apex there. But still through P3 as we cross the line, there we go, Lewis Hamilton has won the race with Nico Rosberg in second, so it's a 1-2 for Mercedes. Meanwhile, coming now onto the hairpin just before the final corner, we are going to bring this McLaren Honda, that's got no power whatsoever with this Honda engine. Stuck it on pole yesterday. We managed to make the best of what turned out to be a pretty bad race for us, but we come home in P3 for 15 points and a third step on the podium. So there we go, that was the Chinese Grand Prix, round 3 of this Jenson Button Career Mode. We managed to get third place after starting on pole but having to make an extra pit stop early on. And really I'm quite happy with that, in all fairness with you, I'm very happy. And in the driver's standings, after getting them 15 points, we are now 20 points behind Nico Rosberg, but the top 2 are pretty closely matched, only 3 points separating them. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I shall see you for round 4 in Bahrain.